All right, hello friends and followers. So here I am on a final epilogue of the Henry 2KD-5 amplifier, and I wanted to show that my voltage in this thing was wavering because I had this solder joint was not soldered well. I couldn't get enough heat on this thing, and this wire must have been loose right here, and that resistor really goes to ground eventually. So I wanted to show why my voltage was varying. So there was like a 22.5K here, and I put a 25K in right here just because it's a larger resistor, and I wasn't sure it would make much difference. So anyway, that's in there. Replace this diode that was shorted. And these all checked out fine with 25K, and all these capacitors got replaced, and that brought this Henry back to life pretty much. And the way this works is the voltage goes in this side, positive. All these capacitors down here have balanced resistors on top. These values of 25K are pretty brutal. There's a lot of heat that gets lost here. You could probably up those to 100K, 60K, something larger. I think though, when you increase the ohms on the balanced resistors, you risk the capacitors becoming unbalanced, and these will over voltage. If there's leakage in these, they can over voltage and explode. So these capacitors are rated a maximum 500 volts DC across each one. I think what was in here was rated at 450. Anyway, these are all 220 UF, 500 volts. 220 UF at 500 volts working voltage, max voltage. So those are a little better. So I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. Yeah, so one of these wires goes to a 200K resistor, or sorry, a 200 ohm resistor. It's way down there. This little plug here looks like Henry used it for internal testing. This little plug was loose. If this little plug is loose and becomes ungrounded, you go like from, I don't know if it's 20 ohms to 200 ohms. There's some weird thing that happens when this plug is ungrounded. This plug was loose, so that was also a problem with the amplifier. And that's about it. I'm gonna put a video up next of how this thing works on all bands to show how it goes, and I guess we can look around back here a bit. So there's big rectifiers here for the high voltage. These assemblies are basically mini diodes in series that do the heavy lifting for the high voltage. There's the big transformer that lore says John Henry got a bunch of these. These have a 10 volt winding for the tubes that are two 3500Gs. The heaters are in series. So that's the story on the big transformer there. There's a smaller transformer here for the housekeeping, which would be for the relay that runs the transmitter, as far as the relay that keys. When you key this back wire, that power supply becomes invoked. And that's really about it inside here. There's a little rectification going on here to get about 20 volts or so, I think. So yeah, this diode pack runs all across here. And I guess people have been hacking around in this thing. There was a lot of bad solder joints and things. I think people were experimenting with it, trying to fix it. So it's kind of back now. Little fan here. I probably got to pull this fan out and give it some service. It works, but it's a little noisy. I do want to pull the front panel apart and probably lubricate in here. I just didn't have the Allen wrench to get off this bottom knob. There's some weird Allen size they use that I just don't have it. So I ordered a bunch of Allen wrenches, but kind of lost interest in that aspect of it. So Anyway, that's a tour of the Henry 2KD-5 amplifier. So if you have one, you can look at this as a reference maybe on how to fix yours. Replace all the capacitors. Make sure these balanced resistors are 25K or greater. I think even they were trying to put 20K in here. I stuck with 25K. All right, that's my little tour. The next video, I'm going to put the side back on here to protect my eyes from explosions. In case the capacitors decide to explode, they could do that anytime, really. And then I'm going to go through the bands and show how it loads up. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a great day.